The previous videos have outlined how truth should be our foundation, not money or pride. We have talked about how the political, media, and medical fields are broken beyond repair with cognitive dissonance, and nobody being humble enough to admit they were duped or have caused harm. We expose how the very foundations of Western society are based on Eurocentric science, which can't even be called a pseudoscience because it's been proven false. We then showed you what happens when you build an entire medical system based on a falsified foundation. Mixed in with perverse financial incentives, that makes for a deadly but highly profitable system. Science is forever looking for a unified theory to explain everything, so we took a big step back and tried to find patterns and put some of these puzzle pieces together. Harmonic theory looks promising, but it's highly controversial because humans don't like one thing: personal responsibility, as blame feels better than guilt. And while all these theories are fine, what we really want is proof in the pudding. We want real-life results.
We have a perfect example of harmony with Anita Morgiani. When two people she knew were diagnosed with cancer, she relays the story in her highly recommended, excellent book, Sensitive is the New Strong. Quote, "This news anchored the fear even deeper in me because both of these people were close to my age. I began researching everything I could about cancer and its causes. Initially, I started doing this in hopes of helping. I wanted to be there for Sony to help her fight. But I found the more I read about the disease, the more afraid of everything that could potentially cause it. I started to believe that everything caused cancer: pesticides, microwaves, preservatives, genetically modified foods, sunshine, air pollution, plastic containers, mobile phones. This obsession progressed until eventually I started to fear life itself. They were going through the full treatment: chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, stem cell, everything, and I didn't see them getting better. It increased my fear. I feared the treatment of cancer, and I feared death. I wanted to do everything I could to avoid cancer, and everything I did was driven from a place of not wanting the disease. My research broadened to include how to avoid cancer. I purchased all the supplements that were antioxidants and anti-cancer: curcumin, CoQ10, omega-3, chlorella, vitamin C, green tea extract. I took boatloads of these supplements every day. I grew my own wheatgrass so I could take fresh wheatgrass shots every morning, made super green smoothies, and started to follow an anti-cancer diet: collard greens, kale, lentils, and lots of raw foods. But back then I was obsessed. I changed my diet depending on the latest article I'd read, the new findings. I installed a reverse osmosis water system. We measured electromagnetic field readings to determine if we needed to make any drastic changes in our environment. I was determined that I wasn't going to get cancer because I was so vigilant and I was fighting against the illness. If I missed a dose of my gazillion supplements, I felt incredibly fearful, and I would make up for it by being even more vigilant. I was exhausted from my self-prescribed protocol, working extremely hard every single day at keeping cancer away. My focus was completely on cancer. And do you know what happened? I got cancer. This shows what you are in harmony with trumps action, so working on your harmony must be the number one priority. It's more important than anything else because it has a bigger weight on the scale than anything else. If you are trying to improve your health but aren't working on your harmony, doesn't matter what path you'll take, it won't get you to where you want to be. So two people can have identical bodies and take identical actions, and one of them thrives and the other one becomes riddled with disease. It's not about action. It's about harmony. You can do the wrong action, and with harmony with wellness, it will succeed. You can do the right action, and without harmony, you will fail. To finish Anita's story, the cancer shut down all of her organs, she went into a coma, and she had an NDE, or near-death experience. Here she learned to change her harmony with her body. She realized who she really was and came back. In her NDE, she learned, your inner state creates your reality. Your outside world indicates your inner harmony. Morgiani realized her attention and thoughts about cancer harmonized her with cancer. The emotion of fear was her inner being indicating that she is on a path in which she will not like the destination if she continues. When she realized this in her NDE, she stopped the thoughts that were harmonizing her with cancer and death, and she embraced her true self
thus harmonizing her with a healthy body and extended life. It's about being, not just thinking. Positive thinking alone isn't enough if you feel fear or unworthiness underneath. It's more about who you are being. True change comes from aligning with your authentic, magnificent self. Self-love is crucial. This was the biggest lesson. Before, she sought approval by putting herself last. Realizing her inherent worth and loving herself unconditionally allowed her true essence, love, to emerge, which led to her healing. When you think loving thoughts about yourself, you are in complete harmony with who you really are, and your whole life reflects that love back. Allow, just don't attract. Focusing on attracting specific things often comes from fear or lack. Instead, we just need to become and allow. Trust the universe, be yourself without fear, and you know you're worthy. When you're in that state of self-love and trust, the right things flow to you naturally. You are in harmony. We are all one connected energy. We're all part of a universal energy which is pure love. Your individual state impacts the whole. So being your true, loving, magnificent self is the best way to contribute. It uplifts everyone. We projected a small portion of our consciousness into this body, into this time-space reality. Our consciousness is connected to the larger part of us. Being who you really are is the most important fact of life. Trying to be like others is ridiculous. We already have a them. We need a you. In your joy-purposed life, being authentically you, unabashedly you, fearlessly you is why you are here. The bottom line is the universe reflects your inner harmonic state. This means that harmonically living authentically with self-love and without fear lets your true magnificence shape your reality. And how you feel about yourself and who you are the real creative forces.
Now, I understand that harmonic theory is admittedly an extraordinary claim. Carl Sagan popularized the concept, quote, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. He was rewording Laplace's principle, which says that the weight of an evidence for an extraordinary claim must be proportioned to its strangeness. I kind of like it. For 100% certain, this thesis is extraordinary. Are the laws of the universe harmonious in nature? We are connected to a source energy that communicates with us with our emotions. Do we get what we are in harmony with, wanted or not, intended or not? We can cure ourselves from anything, even stage 4 cancer, just by changing our thoughts. Extraordinary claims indeed. So where is the extraordinary evidence? I'll show you. Let's finish Anita's story. After her NDE and all her organs started working again, within a week, all of the cancers that riddled her entire body disappeared and the doctors couldn't find any trace or disease in her. Anita Morgiani makes such a claim and was immediately met with skeptics claiming she probably wasn't sick at all. Dr. Peter Koh was such a skeptic, and unlike the vast majority of doctors and medical scientists, he was a genuine skeptic, not a willful, ignorant cynic. He talked to Anita for many hours over the phone, getting all of the medical history. She sent him her medical records, including photos and notes of the last days of her life, going into the hospital, and all of the diagnoses with the symptoms, lymphoma, stage 4B. After poring over the records, he verified everything, and the first words out of his mouth were, quote, "Lady, whichever way I look at it, you should be dead." He said that he had never come across a case of full remission from such advanced stage of cancer, let alone such a rapid rate. But he kept digging. Anita put Dr. Koh in touch with their family general practitioner, Dr. Brian Walker, who confirmed that he'd been astounded by the recovery. Dr. Walker reiterated that he'd never seen such a rapid remission from such an advanced stage of cancer either. Dr. Koh spoke with Dr. Walker for some time and his observations and progression of my cancer over the years. Dr. Walker validated and endorsed many of the American physicians' findings. Dr. Koh then contacted the press and made sure there was a reporter present at the conference to report my story to the local newspaper. She was spontaneously cured of cancer in every organ of her body and lesions all over her skin. and it all being medically verified with her records meticulously scrutinized and verified by literally thousands of highly skeptical and cynical board-certified doctors from dozens of countries around the world, unquestionably satisfies the requirement for extraordinary evidence. And in truth, there is no amount of evidence that will ever convince willful, ignorant cynics. I've had hundreds of discussions with doctors from around the world, and in truth, every single one that is claimed to be a skeptic is in actual reality a willful, ignorant cynic. You can give them all the data and they will never read it. They are in a difficult position where cognitive dissonance makes it impossible for them to admit they were duped. Few, if any, can ever admit they dedicated their life to a falsehood. It's just too impossible for them to bear when they are in a job professing to help people. They view themselves as too noble and honorable to ever be convinced they've done something wrong. If you ask them how much evidence would they need to change, they generally have no answer and will walk away. Cognitive dissonance is too painful. There is no quantity or quality of evidence high enough to make the cynic ever change. But we don't have to worry about them. We can move forward. Now, let's synthesize all of this data and harmonic laws and to see if there isn't a better medical model.